Are you familiar with that phrase, say what you mean and mean what you say? That's something most of us heard a long time ago when we were growing up, and it's actually good advice to follow. Be a person of your word. And if you're going to engage with somebody, speak words of truth, speak words of goodness, and be somebody that's honorable, be somebody whose word is your bond. That's the healthy way of doing things. When we talk about people who have a strong narcissistic bent, that old phrase, say what you mean and mean what you say, takes on an entirely different bent, because that's not the way they do things at all. Now, they want you to think that that's the way they do it, but they don't. Let's keep in mind, because of their high need to be in control, because of their attitude of entitlement that they have, because of their willingness to exploit or manipulate you, because they feel superior to you, because they operate with alternate reality, because they have no empathy for you, they can say all sorts of things to you that on the surface might allow you to presume that, well, okay, they may be thinking something nice, when in fact later on you realize that's not what it was at all. And so today I've identified 10 comments that are very common that narcissists use that have double meanings. And I want to go through these, and as I do, I want you to think, how many of these 10 have you heard from your narcissist in your life? By the way, you notice Gus jumped down from there. He's taking a front row seat here. He wants to make sure he gets all this in. Okay, the first comment that has a double meaning that you're very commonly going to hear from a narcissist is, tell me why you feel that way. Let's suppose that you've had some sort of difference or disagreement with a narcissist, and they can say, tell me why you feel that way. Now, on the surface, it could begin to sound like they have some empathy toward you. I want to know things from your perspective. But then later on, is it really, when they ask that question, is it they're collecting data so that they can use it in their later arguments against you? And so when they say, tell me why you feel that way, it's like you can almost guarantee that they're looking for holes in your logic, and they're going to eventually come back and start shooting bullets at you based on what they think are the holes in your logic. Or a second double meaning kind of comment that they use is, well, I can see that you have it all figured out. Now, is the narcissist on the surface giving you a nice compliment like, wow, you're really smart? Or is that statement, I can see you have it all figured out, is it just a condescending insinuation that you're really stupid? And I think you can kind of guess in most cases when you're talking about highly narcissistic people, they don't mind whatsoever throwing insults in your direction. And if they can toss some sarcasm in the midst of it, all the better. A little salt in that wound there, why don't you? Or a third statement or phrase that they can use that has a double meaning, and that is, I'm trying to be helpful. Now, that could on the surface sound like, I really like being supportive and friendly and engaging with you. So if you have a need, I'm more than happy to do that. Is that what's going on? Or are they guilting you for not going along with their agenda? Many times when a narcissist says, I'm trying to be helpful, what they're saying is, I've done nice things for you, and the very least that you can do is, guys, come on to my agenda and do things according to my program, and you're not doing it. And so it's not at all a sense of friendliness or support when they say they're being helpful. Or how about a fourth one? I've done all that I know to do. Let's suppose that the two of you have some sort of strain or difficulty that's there. And it may be that when they say, I've done all that I need to do, sometimes you say that because it's your way of saying, I've looked under every rock, I've tried every angle that I can, and I'm kind of at my wit's end. Help me understand, because I so want to be supportive and encouraging towards you, but it just isn't seeming to get us where we want to be. And in that case, it can actually represent an exhaustive effort to try to get to the bottom of whatever's facing the two of you. Typically, though, when a narcissist says that, it's their way of saying, I'm really agitated that you just won't do things according to what I want. I've done everything on my end. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you doing things on your end? And you realize at that moment that your relationship with them is a deal. It's a transaction. It's not just something that they're doing just out of the kindness of their heart. It's just not part of the equation there. Or how about a fifth comment that they can make that could sound right on the surface, but then behind the surface might be something different. And that is, sorry things didn't work out well for you. Now, there can be a whole host of reasons that they might say something like that. It could be that a plan that you had during the day just didn't play out very well. It could be that someone that you love very much has had a failure or a difficulty. And so when you say, sorry it didn't work out for you, in the right context, it might be that they're giving words of comfort. I'm really sorry about that. But in many cases, the narcissist can be nursing instead an "I told you so" attitude. Sorry it didn't work out for you. You just keep doing things the way you want to do things, and look what happens. Sorry, didn't work out for you, did it? And if you try to call them out on it, of course, they're not going to say that at all. But typically, there can be a hint of sarcasm, particularly when you're coming from that strong narcissistic bent. How about a sixth one? And that is, I never thought about it like that before. Now, it could be that you're talking to a narcissist about a topic or an interest or something that's happened, and you share something that's really different, and they're expressing a sense of curiosity. I've never thought about that before. And so it can actually become an invitation that says, please, tell me more. With a narcissist, though, when they say, I've never thought about that before, it could be their way of saying, that is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. Of course, I haven't thought about that because I'm not as dumb as you. And many times they have that condescending attitude toward you that just isn't going to let you be anything other than, someone that's subordinate to them. So they can't learn from you at all. Or how about number 7? We need to turn this over to God. Now, some narcissists don't care about God at all. Other times, narcissists, it's like, well, since God is the ultimate authority figure, and I like being associated with authority, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be on that team. And basically, they play the God card left and right. God says you need to do this, and you should have done that. And many times, sometimes they can be serious. A person can be serious when they say that. They're trying to give you spiritual comfort. Other times, though, it's like, you're not religious in the same way I am, you poor slob. And as a result, you're not on God's team like I am. If you turn things over to God like I do, then everything's going to be okay. And actually, that's they're being a representative of what they think God is. And it's like, if it's that condescending and if it's that dripping with sarcasm or sanctimonious self-righteousness, it's like, I'm not real sure I want to be on that team. But many times they'll play that. And again, I'm not against spirituality. I'm a spiritual person myself, but too many times people will hide behind that as a way of saying you need to do things according to what me and of course God says you need to do. We've got the rule book all figured out. I'm going to bang you over the head with it. How about number 8? And that is, let me explain. Now, it could be that when you say, let me explain, you're trying to give careful clarification. Sometimes there are things that are going on between you and another individual, and sure enough, there is a confusion. So when you say, let me explain, it's like, I'm really trying to be helpful. I want to put things into context. Or it could be that when they say, let me explain, you've already talked about what you think might be accurate and appropriate. And their comment is their way of saying, are you that gullible that you would believe all this dopey stuff that you have over there? And so it's their way of saying, you need somebody to set you straight. That's what that can sometimes mean. Or number 9, another comment they can have with a double meaning. What's done is done. Or you can't change the past. Now, sometimes if you use a comment like that, it actually can represent an attempt to put a wise perspective on things. Sometimes you say, there are just things that happen and we need to come to terms with it. Okay, I can appreciate that. Or when they say what's done is done, it can be their way of saying, I'm too lazy to try to sift things out, and I sure don't want to have to think things through any further than what my comfort level says. So what's done is done. Let's just move on. Forget about it. And if you're going to whine over stuff that you don't like, that's your problem, not mine. Or how about number 10? I don't want to argue with you. Well, actually, that could be a voice of reason. When we say, let's not argue. Let's have a sense of good engagement. That could be a good invitation. But basically, when a narcissist says, I don't want to argue with you, it's their way of saying, I'm stubbornly unwilling to hear anything that you have to say. And if you do talk with me, I'm going to shut you down. And I don't want to have to do that because I know that that just leaves everybody feeling uncomfortable. And so it's their way of just saying, I'm not into you and your perspective. Go away. Now, the insidious aspect of these 10 comments, and I'll bet you could leave a whole lot more. And if you want to leave them in the comment section, go right ahead. I think we'd all kind of get a kick out of it. But when you call out a narcissist on the other side of that double meaning that's more, not all that agreeable, they'll just look at you and say, what are you talking about? No, I'm coming at it from the good side, not the negative side. And so you just can't get them to be honest. Keep in mind, part of the defining feature of narcissism is their own alternate reality. They make up the truth as they go along. So why don't we just say this? You can think anything you want, and you can explain life in any way you wish. But I think I'm just going to have to go ahead and go according to what my common sense tells me. I'm not filtering my emotional well-being through someone who's double-tongued. I don't do that. Now, I do hope that videos such as this give you something to think about. And if you've not already done so, I'd encourage you to hit that subscribe button right below. If this prompts you to think that you might want to engage with a licensed professional counselor and work some of this out, and right now, online counseling is both popular and quite necessary for some folks. We've vetted a trusted sponsor, and there's a link below, and you can avail yourself to that. We have links to our library, my online video workshops, and so I'm and also our website, survivingnarcissism.tv and drlescarter.com. And I hope you avail yourself to those as well. Now, I do hope that you can be that kind of person that says, say what you mean and mean what you say, and you're going to be known as a person of good character. And when you find this person that gives the double entendre on all these other things, it's like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm staying over here on Team Healthy. That's what I'm committed to do.